man of principle. He resigned from the cabinet. Imagine, you see the contrast. When Hindu Code Bill, he wanted equal rights for women. All the women must have equal rights. And since there was a lot of sensitivity about this, about the Muslim community, he says, okay, let us begin with a Hindu Code Bill. And there were obscurantist forces which were not agreeable at that point of time. And that situation was created, and he resigned. He resigned as a protest that why equal rights to women were not given at that point of time. Dalit is denied entry into temple. Dalit colony water tank, human excreta is put in the water tank. In a school there is a division. Dalit student would sit the other side. Dalit assaulted for being Dalit. Where are we? 75 years is not a short time. 75 years means 2 generations gone and the 3rd generation is coming up. And still, we don't see to. Whenever I think of Babasaheb, it's from a long time, not today. Whenever I think of him, I get emotionally overwhelmed. I find it difficult to believe that really such a person, did such a person really exist? I think we are too small to talk about him, to describe him. You know, it's like a bucket of water trying to explain or describe the ocean. He was such a great person. Look at his entire life. What a struggle. Unimaginable. At every stage, he has struggled. And with all these struggles, despite all the hardships, he grew as a person, as a human being, with so much of compassion, as an intellectual to which there was hardly any rival, and such a visionary. Any other person who had gone through such amount of hardship would have been a bitter person. But no, he was not. He had risen much above bitterness. And we are grateful as a nation. We must be grateful to him that such a diverse country with so much of diversity, a stunning diversity. No country in the world can claim to be as diverse or even a fraction of as diverse as India is. This country has continued on its journey for last nearly 8 decades, and we know that it will go on forever because of the most visionary and precious document, the holiest of all scriptures. He gave us the Constitution of India. When I came to this state as governor, I found Raj Bhavan was full of statues. You walk around, you find plenty of statues. And I felt a great vacuum when I didn't find a statue of Babasaheb. I said, look, we can't be so ungrateful to him. So then, we, on one of such days, we installed his statue. And that too at a place which is the most happening place in Raj Bhavan. This is Bhartiyar Mandapam. Whether it is swearing in of Chief Minister or Minister, swearing in of Chief Justice, any such event. When President of India comes, the event is here. Other events we all host here only. So we found this place among all the places in Rajbhavan most appropriate for putting his statue, so that anyone who comes to this place must see him, must remember that if anybody is coming here because of this great man. You know, he was such a versatile genius. In any, some of the speakers, they have, especially Dr. Varaprasad Rao has given try to give, because it's too difficult to describe him, a snapshot of his various, and other speakers also have done. Whether it's labor, whether it's a finance, whether it's economics, whether it's a politics, whether it's a law, every field. In fact, I often believe that Babasaheb remains a grossly underappreciated leader of this country, because his contribution and the way we have remembered him, there is a big gap. He ought to have been celebrated all through as the most revered leader of this country. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. After independence, look at the way he was humiliated. A man of principle. He resigned from the cabinet. Imagine, you see the contrast. When Hindu Code Bill, he wanted equal rights for women. All the women must have equal rights. And since there was a lot of sensitivity about the Muslim community, he says, okay, let us begin with a Hindu Code Bill. And there were obscurantist forces which were not agreeable at that point of time. And that situation was created, and he resigned. He resigned as a protest that why equal rights to women were not given at that point of time. And look at what happened some decades later, where a woman goes to Supreme Court asking for relief because her husband had divorced her without giving any compensation. And Supreme Court gives the compensation, and we had a leader who went to Parliament, made a law negating the order of the Supreme Court and denying the equal right to the woman. Look at what a contrast. First of all, it was a huge loss to the nation that we lost him so early. We lost him in 56, just less than 10 years after independence. But even in those 10 years, the power that be at that point of time was scared of facing him, and they didn't allow him to get into the parliament. He contested 2 elections, 52 and 54. And the way he was, electoral politics is not, I think he was so upright, he was so value-based that people conspired to defeat him. The first election, 52, and how he was defeated. His own PA was chosen and contested, was fielded against him by the then ruling party of the center. And all the forces conspired and he was defeated. Why? They were so insecure with his presence in that parliament that this great giant, intellectual giant, if he is present in the parliament, perhaps others, the so-called great people, would have looked very small and dwarf. So for selfish reason, they did not allow him to get to the parliament. Similarly, 54, another election again, he was. I think these were the sins that our people committed at that point of time against this great man. We all talk about social justice. In fact, the beautiful document, the constitution that he gave, unparalleled in the world. As the test of everything is when it is put in practice. The fact that this country, and there were many countries which got independence at that point of time, many of them they suffered. They had bad track records. Many of them could not sustain, many of them they broke into pieces. But this country has stood as one and moved forward because of this wonderful document, constitution that he gave. Because this wonderful document it has that resilience, it has the strength that can address the issues of such a diverse country as India. And it is also futuristic. It is not that it is rigid or it is designed in a way that future, a difficult situation, an unforeseen situation, if it comes, it is not able to meet. No, it is resilient. That is why this document, it has been from time to time, depending on the needs of the time, it has been amended more than 125 times. This is the beauty of this document. This is strong and yet resilient. Resilient to meet the needs of the time. Because nobody knows future. Babasaheb knew it. Babasaheb knew it that in the journey of the nation there will be many situations which was difficult for the leaders at that point of time to foresee. So we must have a document that must be prepared to meet those unforeseen situations. That is why this is a beautiful document, a most remarkable blend of strength and resilience. This is a wonderful document. Something which was very dear to his heart was equality of all human beings. He summed up the dream. The Constitution is not only a document that tells us how the way of governance, but it also carries a dream. a goal where this country must reach. And that dream he encapsulated in the preamble of the Constitution. He talked of justice, social, economic, and political. Today, some people believe that social justice is a franchisee of that political organization. No. Social justice is there as a fundamental principle of our Constitution laid by Babasaheb. Equality. Equality of status and opportunity. Everyone must have equal status and equal opportunity. Imagine. Fraternity. Every individual must have a dignity, must be viewed with dignity. Now when we have more than 75 years, or in fact today we are celebrating the 75th year of the Constitution, of independence, of course, we are more than 75. But this year we are celebrating the 75th year of our Constitution. And the government of India, the Prime Minister Modi, has announced that this whole year, as a mark of gratitude to Babasaheb, we will celebrate the year. We say that our Constitution, our pride. Celebration of Constitution, the whole year celebration. And in that one whole year, when we talk about the Constitution, when every segment is not only lawyers or judges, but every segment, students, industrialists, farmers, fishermen, every section, because this is a document that touches every Indian. Every Indian. And so it is not a property or something of a one particular domain or expertise. It belongs to the entire nation. So the whole nation must celebrate this document and thereby pay gratitude to this great man, Babasaheb Ambedkar. Unfortunately, for a long time, or let us say so far, people have been largely using Dr. Ambedkar, as a slogan, as a name for their own self-interest. Be it for election, winning votes, or be it sometime to project oneself, okay, I am a champion of social justice. But when it comes to the really implementing the spirit, what he wanted, it is also a time that we must reflect, where are we? The dream that Babasaheb gave us through this document 75 years ago, where are we today? When we talk about justice, social justice, where are we? Do we have social justice? Every day we read in the newspaper, Dalit is denied entry into temple. Dalit colony water tank, human excreta is put in the water tank. In a school there is a division. Dalit student would sit the other side. Dalit assaulted for being Dalit. Where are we? 75 years is not a short time. 75 years means 2 generations gone and the 3rd generation is coming up. And still, we don't see to. It should have been over long back. But no. We talk so much. We talk morning, evening, night, all the time about social justice. But when it comes on the ground, we see that the people are so deprived, so discriminated. In our own state where we are talking about, and where we read the news in the newspaper every day about this discrimination, untouchability. Look at the crime against Dalits. Look at the National Crime Record Bureau data. National Crime Record Bureau compiles the data of crime against people, all over the country, all kinds of crimes. It is the data, most credible statistics. In Tamil Nadu, in the last 3 years, there is a 40% increase in crime against Dalit. Why? 40% is not a small increase. There is a 40% increase in crime against Dalit in our state, when we have been talking so much about social justice. Now, when it comes to the delivering justice to the victims of crimes, that somebody has been victimized, suffered, the one who has perpetrated the crime should be punished. That is the justice made out to the victim. Where are we? There is sharp decline in conviction of those people, those criminals, those who have committed crime against Dalits. Take the case, the most heinous crime. The most heinous crime is rape of a Dalit woman. In our state, the rate of conviction of the rapist of Dalit woman is less than half the national average. National average, less than half. This is very disturbing. This is not acceptable. Why don't people, including the political parties, why don't they take an oath or that every cadre on the ground must ensure that that person does not support, in fact, that person ensures that there is no discrimination in every village. We know that the people have every village. Why can't they take this? Why don't they ensure that, yes, you take this oath? But no. I get complaints. There are people who come and tell me, a Dalit person who has been elected as a panchayat president is not allowed to take office. Why? Is it acceptable? It is happening. So, are we following Babasaheb, what he wanted? But we all the time use his name. Every occasion we will say Babasaheb. But when it comes to practicing his ideals of social justice, we find we are nowhere. We are far away. I think this is not acceptable. A true tribute to Babasaheb will only be when each one of us, we embrace every other citizen of this country as our own brother and sister. And that must happen. It is very painful. It's very disturbing to see this kind of discrimination happening today, even after 75 years of our Constitution, the fundamental document coming into being of our independence. I think we should, wherever we are, we must take an oath that no, we will not allow this to happen. Wherever, at least wherever we are, wherever I am, I will see that in my house, in the village, wherever I am, in the workplace where I am working, wherever I am, I will not have any discrimination. We will all treat each other like brother and sisters. It has to be a movement. And this 75th year of independence, of our constitution making, constitution coming into being, I think this whole year the campaign should go on. Campaign should go on, not by the political parties, I'm not talking about it, but at the social level, at the individual level. Because this transformation can come only at the social and individual level. At the political level, they will make noise. Things have not changed so far. It has to be at the social and individual level, we all have to. Because if we do not, the consequences will be very heavy. You know, Babasaheb in his last speech in the Constituent Assembly on the 25th of November, 1949, he had delivered his final speech, and the next day, 26th of November, Constitution was adopted. In his concluding part of his speech, Babasaheb mentioned, after giving the whole detail, then he says, now we are independent, we are going to be republic now, because this beautiful constitution is coming into force 2 months later. But I have a great worry, great concern. The concern is that today we are celebrating independence. Were we not independent in the past? We were independent in the past also. But how did we lose our independence? We lost our independence because our society was fragmented, was divided. We didn't allow people equal access. We kept a large section of our people deprived of the basic dignity. And the adversaries took advantage of it. And we were subjugated. So he said, my worry is that now we have become independent, we are celebrating it. But my worry is, will we be able to preserve this independence? Because if we continue the way we have continued, we may not. So it is for our national unity, the national independence. It is for the good of all that we must do away with the curse, the sin of untouchability, sin of social discrimination. Only then this country can fulfill its destiny, its dream to be the world leader. And I'm sure we'll be able to do that, because I have belief, I have a trust in the resilience, in the strength of our people. We have to overcome, but it needs our collective and individual effort. On this day, with this individual pledge which we all of us will take, not necessarily those sitting here, but all over, that we will abide by the dream of Babasaheb to ensure the social justice is practiced in our day-to-day life, every aspect of our life. With this pledge, let us move on and make this country, make this society a harmonious society, and make this country a great country. I'm sure we will achieve that. Thank you very much.